Okay, so now it's time to work on the edit functionality, and for that we will be needing a new column in here. So we'll define an actions column, and inside that we'll be displaying two links. So one is going to be edit, and the other one is going to be delete. So let's go ahead and see how we can add those links in here. So inside the table component, we have a section for built-in query builder, and here we have an example table setup for us. And what this is doing is it is passing a column for actions. So let me just copy that and paste that in my students table. Okay, let me just zoom this a bit. So after a phone number, what I want to do is I want to display the actions column. And what do I want to do here? So if we go ahead and check this out now, we will see an empty table in here, so empty column. And to display the links, what we can do is we can filter that out. We can populate that data in the Blade file itself. So the actions that we provide as the label is gonna be used in here. Okay, so let's try this out. So I'm gonna copy this code and paste that in my index.blade. So after inside the Splade table, I want to paste that in here, and the name is going to be actions, and the link that I want to go to is route students dot edit, and let's also pass in that student ID. Okay, we don't have that student ID for now, so what we can do is, okay, so by default we have an item variable, and we can change that as per our needs. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change that to a student name, because we are representing a student. So as student is gonna internally rename the variable to student, and now we can call that by the student variable. So this should be displayed as a link with a value of edit, and that should go to the edit page. So let's save this and let's try this reload. And now as you can see, this route is going to students/id and then edit. So this thing is now working. And the next step that I want to do is define the view for this. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, this should be similar to the create page. So let's go ahead and do the create the edit.blade.php, and I'm just gonna copy the create page content and paste that in here. And we can reference that user, and let's also display the name of the student. So we will get that record as student and name. So the route is gonna be students.update, and we also need to pass that record. Okay, what else do we have in here? Okay, we have that Splade model. Okay, this thing works. So we are passing that action to the model itself, and that also works. So I found that out just now. So we can either pass this thing to the form or the model. So let's try and see if this thing works or not. So inside the form, I want to pass that action, and we have that edit user. And okay, let's go ahead and see. When I click on edit, okay, method student controller edit does not exist because we haven't defined that function. So let's go ahead and do that. Edit, and we are going to use the root model binding, and let's return that view. Students.edit compact student. Okay, should work. So let's reload it once and click on edit. Okay, we got this undefined variable sections because we also need to pass that value. So let's go ahead and pass that to the edit page, and let's also pass that here. So sections, and reload one last time. Okay, let's click on edit, and now we are redirected to an edit page, but it's not slide over model. So this thing didn't work out. Okay, we need to update the link to use the slide over model. So link slide over, and now let's go ahead and try this thing. Let's click on edit, Okay, now we can see the form, and we also get the user's name in here. So how do we populate this form? So for that, what we can do is we can pass the value. We can actually pass the model to the form. And okay, where was that? I saw that somewhere just now, but I forgot where it was. Okay, this is the table component form. Okay, here we have that. Yep, we can pass that default model or the to the form itself. So what I'll do is I'll just copy this code, and then in our case what we want to do is we want to pass the student model to the form. So we can pass that. Okay, let's create a separate line so that we can read this properly, and the default is gonna be student, and it's gonna take care of the binding and all the other stuff. We don't have to deal with anything of that kind in here. So let's try once again. Okay, we are redirected to the edit page. Okay, this works fine now. So all the data is populated automatically. So you need to keep in mind that the form value and the model's property are same, otherwise this won't work. So I think we can customize that behavior. So if we go ahead and check out, so since we are passing the email as inside the name attribute, so this value is going to be used. So user.email and the name attribute are going to be binded to each other. So that's how it works. So you can also customize the validation errors. So if you have a different validation key, you can also pass in whether you want to show the errors or not, and preserving the scroll behavior and all the other stuff. So these are all given in the documentation. And okay, the edit page now works fine. So let's go ahead and work on the update part. So it's gonna be same as the create function. So what I also want to do here is I want to implement the validation classes. So artisan make request update student request, and what are we gonna do in here? Okay, let's do that. Let's define that class, import, and we are also gonna get the student model, and we can update the student in here. So student update request validated, and also return redirect route to the index page. Okay, I think we also need to work on the student or class ID, just like we did for the create page. So we can actually copy that and paste that in here. And we also need the class again, section data again. So we can copy that code, paste that here, and this should now work. Okay, we haven't defined the request class, so this is gonna be auth check, and later I might work on implementing roles and permissions in this. It's gonna be pretty simple. I won't be using any packages or anything of that kind, so that's gonna be uploaded later, so stay tuned for that as well. And okay, let's go ahead and copy the rules from this class itself, and we can implement the ignore property as well. So okay, we don't have any unique. Okay, we do have that. So now what we can do here is, okay, we can reference that like this. So this student ID and the property is gonna be ID. Okay, this should work. I'm not really sure whether this was the rule of syntax for the unique, but if there are any issues, then we'll fix that. Okay, let's go ahead and test this out. Update the class and section for this, and okay, everything else. So let's try out updated, and let's click on submit. Okay, the post method is not supported. Okay, I think we need to pass that method property as well in here. So inside edit, the method is gonna be put, and let's try it out once again. Okay, there's some reloading related issues in here. Maybe that would be fixed in the future, but for now it creates some problem while working with the local environment. So let's click on submit. Okay, column not found, column 91. Okay, I think it's a mistake. So maybe we can remove this ID part and this should be here, I guess, students ID. Okay, let's omit that and see, and we'll look into the docs if we have any issues. So I'm only gonna update the class and section. Okay, we still have that error. So what I am gonna do is I'm gonna open up the validation docs. Okay, I think this also provides some auto completion for us. So if we pass in that unique, then the table is gonna be students, the column is gonna be ID, and then the accept ID. So now we can pass that this student ID, and this should work. Okay, let's go ahead and test this out. Let's click on edit and let's update the class and section. Okay, that seems to work now. I'm not really sure which data I updated. I think inside page 7 I updated this data. Okay, that seems to work. So the edit functionality is also working now, and the next step that I want to do is I want to implement the delete feature. So let's go ahead and do that.